Okay, in this video I'm going to replace the alternator on a 2002 Nissan Altima with the 3.5 liter V6. I apologize, this is going to be very noisy just because of where I am located. I'm right up against the road. I couldn't get the car in a better position, but I will try to make the talking as minimal as possible. I started out by taking out the air dam, take out all the little plastic plugs. This comes right out. Next thing you need to do in this, if you look, the alternator is actually right down there. Radiator's got to come out. So you got two little holders at the top here, and they basically keep it from rambling around. Also, we've got the wiring harness. So I have already pulled the wiring harness off of the radiator, off of the fan mounts themselves, and I just have to figure out how to get these clips out. I think they're pushes. Yeah, they feel like they're pushes, and then you pull them out. Once I get those out, I will pop the radiator hoses. I've got a bucket underneath. I will take these out, and with the hoses out, I'll be able to lift the whole, I should be able to lift the whole radiator right out. The AC is in front of it, so should be fine. Oh, I also have to take the overflow tube off as well. So pair of pliers for that, pair of pliers for that, pair of pliers for this. Or actually, probably I'll take the one back here. All right, so let me take the rest of this out, and then we'll see how much closer we are to the alternator. All right, once that radiator is out, there's a ton more room. Yeah, I'm dripping quite a bit there from the transmission. I might have to put something on that, but you can see the alternator's right there now. So the next step really, well, should have been the first step. Disconnect the battery. So let me disconnect that. And then after that, and I will plug that line up. After that, I will turn the steering wheel to the right, I think, and go from the side to get that belt loosened. It's just getting doused in coolant right now. So yeah, that should squeal quite a bit when I go to put the new one. I do have some other coolant lines here, but they could just be kind of moved over. I could already see my two electrical lines are right. My two electrical connections are right here. So let me get that battery disconnected. Okay, battery's disconnected, so it's time to disconnect the two connections for the alternator. There's a capped hot line coming off of it, which is a 12 mil, and then there's a little plug back here as well. Trying to do this as carefully as possible. These are very, very old connections. Oops. Come on. Okay. I've got one bolt. Man, this is impossible to show. I've got one bolt up here at the top that I have to get out, and I think there are two others. and I can't figure out the tensioner for this at all. Try loosening those up, and then I could probably figure it out once I get those done. Okay, looking at the replacement, it looks like there's a big bolt on the other side. So I don't know if that's going to be, I'm going to have to get that from underneath. There's no way I can get that from up top. I don't think, at least. Let's see if I could even feel it from up top. I don't think I will be able to. Let's see. We'll put the new alternator up there just so I have it for reference. Okay, I think I figured out the tensioner. From the top, you look right down in there. Oh, it's going to be impossible to get on camera. You see right past my finger. Oh, it's too dark. There's a little, like, it's a little bolt right there, and it's sitting right on above the tensioner pulley, or the idler pulley. So I'm going to try to loosen that up and see if that loosens the loosens up the serpentine belt. So let's see how well that works. Okay, so I continued to loosen the pulley tensioner, and it actually started to stop backing out. That's when I found that the tensioner pulley itself was kind of locked up. So I actually backed off this nut, it's 14 mil nut, and then I was able to just pull it up and out of the way, and that's basically it. So now the question is, how do I get to that other bolt, which is going to be up and underneath? I know a lot of people say to take the wheel off to get to this, but I'm kind of lazy, so which ends up actually making me do more work in the end. I could actually move that pulley up and down now pretty well. I might have to, oh wow, yeah, that bolt is behind, is it behind that pulley? Can't be, can it? They wouldn't be that cruel, would they? I think they would. So I'm going to see if I can actually just take that pulley off, which I think I probably can, and then I'll be able to get to the other side, the other bolt. You could just barely see it just above my finger there, and yeah, it's still dripping antifreeze. Let me back this one off and see if I can get to the main bolt for the alternator. Okay, so there's the pulley itself. It came off. Doesn't look that bad. I don't know if this has been replaced. Looks like it's been replaced. I did notice, really hope this stops up. It's important that you drop all of your parts into your antifreeze. I mean, it really is important. So here's the pulleys, the stud that the pulley's on. Here's some, I guess that's a backspacer for it. And way up above that, right there, you see the bottom of the alternator and you see the nut right there? That's what I've got to take off. So, I mean, from the other side, I'm sure it's easy as anything. From this side, it's going to be hell. I'm assuming it's another 14 mil. I'm going to back that off, see if it comes off okay, and then we'll be able to pull the alternator out. And now is a great time to change out your serpentine belt for this. This is a, I don't know how many groove, but I hope they have that at the parts store. But let me try to get the alternator out and then put the new one in, hopefully easily. So far, I didn't have to take the tire off yet, but I did find a screw in my tire. Replacement tire monitor. Huh. I guess when those words go away, it's time to replace your tire. Or probably more when you could see the words, it's probably time to replace your tire, but I'll ignore that for now. Okay, used a little PB blaster and an assortment of tools, and I was able to get that nut off the end. Feels like the actual bolt just slides through, and from what I could feel, at least from the other end, it did do that. Oh goodness, there we go. Yep, I can see it starting to slide out, and it does have a lock around the back. I'll show you that once I get it out. So the bolt has a catch on it that stops it from rotating. I mean, it's got a little bit of a hexed head on it, but I don't think that's going to do much of anything. Something else. I have to just pull this up very carefully and try not to destroy the AC. All right, that actually wasn't too terrible. I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison real quick just to make sure I'm looking at the same thing. So, just counting teeth in the belt, in the pulley. Everything else looks, I mean, it looks exactly the same. So I think we are safe to attempt to replace it. It's even got the same letter on the back of the battery connection here. So let me get this new one in place. So I'm going to get it, try to set it in from underneath, and I'll set the bolt in from the back, and then we could angle it up and get this top bolt in place. There is, I think, an O2 sensor cable I have to get around to do this. You know what? I can get this top bolt in first. At the very least, loosely threaded in, so it's holding the alternator up, and I'm not struggling with it the whole time. I was wondering if this spacer was going to be a problem, but it looks like it's on the original as well. This goes on the outside, comes through here. There's a big old chunk off the block, or a bracket or something, that fits inside of here. The hard part is I got to get this up and in, and then start this bolt like 10 miles over that to the right. Once I get it started, it's not that big of a deal, and it's going to lock itself in place once we're in there. I think it's safe to put this top bolt in, at least started. Oh, I think this came from the other side. Yeah. There we go. All right, now I got to get back underneath, tighten the nut back on, and tighten this top one on, and then I can start plugging wiring back in. And I'm actually going to go get a new serpentine, a new belt, because, you know, if I'm in here, I'm in here. I might as well change it out. So let me start tightening stuff up. At least get the alternator tightened in place, and hopefully get a nice little electrical connection in place here. You know, let me tighten it up first, because. Okay, so it is back in, the alternator's in place. So the next, just dropped something. The next step is to start making the electrical connections, and then I can put the radiator back in place and make all the connections to that as well. So not knowing this this particular setup very well, I believe this is your actual power feed. That's what's making the power and sending power back to the battery. And this connector actually, I don't know if that's I don't know what that does. Some sort of modulation for the alternator. But get everything back in place, and it looks like I'm about ready for the radiator. I'm just going to clean some leaves out of here, gently nudge that radiator back into place, connect the trans fluid lines first, then the two radiator hoses up top, well, the two hoses in the overflow, and then I will check my levels, refill as needed, and then I'm gonna put a new belt on after that. I switched the video over to me actually trying to get this thing in. It's important to note those two holes right there, those are locator holes, and there's actually rubber bushings in there. Those are where the bottom of the radiator sits in this particular vehicle. So I have to make sure that I actually get those little dowel pins, or whatever you want to call them, into those holes. Okay, everything else in reverse. Make sure everything's all clipped into place. It's actually pointed up a little bit. I might have to, there we go, that twists down a little bit. And I'm gonna have to add a little bit of coolant juice. I checked the transmission, it looked okay. I'll double check it after I cycle the car. And I'm gonna go get a belt, put that in place, crank down that tensioner after I put the belt in place, and then hook it up, We'll see if it starts. I'm gonna have to jump start it to get it start. We'll see if it starts, see if it runs, and we'll check the voltage at the battery with the alternator spinning and see what it looks like. Okay, so I got the new belt in place. What I did was I actually had to make sure that this was still loose, and I was able to push this up to get it wrapped up and around the 3 pulleys. So the alternator's up there, then it went around the AC, and then from the AC it went almost there, all around the crank. And then the crank's got a separate pulley for the power steering. So with that, I was able to crank it down and get it really tight. This might be a little too tight, but the other one was like, I mean, it was super duper tight. So I might have to loosen that if I hear it making too much noise. If I hear it, it should, you know, get a little bit loose, you know, loosen up a little bit after it starts up, you know, get the initial stretch into it. But that's basically it. At this point, I can pop these pieces back into place, these plastic covers, and refill my radiator, and then probably going to need a jump pack because it did kill the battery when this thing was driving around. That's how we know there was a problem with the alternator. And then I could show you, that'll show you how to, once we get it started, how to test to make sure that the alternator is actually working properly. Okay, topped off the fluids, and I hooked up my my jump pack. It's showing 11.9 on the battery, but I don't know how many amps. I don't know if this jump pack's going to be powerful enough because it hasn't been plugged in for a while. I take it back, started right up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the car charge for a little bit, and it should charge up the battery. So while it's doing that, I'm going to go get my voltmeter. All right, so the car is running. It seems okay. It's been running for like 5 minutes or so. It's idled down. I'm going to use a voltmeter set to DC. And with it running, I want to see what the voltage is across the battery. It's still a little low, but it's closer to what it should be. Now, if I turn this off, I bet you the battery's got a deficit. So, where are we at? 12.78. Lights are off, turn it off. And let's see what the voltage is across the battery right now. I bet you the battery is low. 12.37, all right, not bad. We're at before 12.6 something. I think we need to charge for a little bit. Let's see if the battery's got enough charge to, it could start itself back up. So I call that fixed. Hopefully this helps you out with any issues you're having with your alternator. Once again, it's 2002 Nissan Sentra, and it's with the 6-cylinder, so it's they kind of buried that alternator kind of down on the front there. So I know with the 4 cylinders, it's right up top, easy to get to. Lots more room though. So I think that pretty much does it for this video. I mean, looking a lot better than I was before, and the voltage on the battery started to climb. So eventually we should get into about the 13 to 14 range with the alternator powering the battery. The battery is kind of a little bit on the low side, but keep an eye on it, make sure that it does come back up, and that should be pretty much it. That's a fix for me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was useful to you. Please like and subscribe, and please check out my other videos. Thanks. I gave it a few more minutes, and you can see it's already up to 12.84, and it's climbing. I saw it 12.89, I saw it 12.9. So it should just keep coming up higher and higher, and eventually this will sit about the 13 and a half range.